Hi, guys. Bonnie, I have to chuckle. If it's sunny and warm in Alberta, Canada, you can have my weather because it is sunny and cold here. Unusually so for a October day, especially mid-October. This is crazy. So good to see everybody. Thanks for dropping in today. I have there was one question out there and one question only, so I'm going to go with it today. It's how to create let's see here if I can pull up that Facebook post. Hold on just a second. Let's see if I can find what she wants so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Inbox. Hang tight. So let me share this page and you guys will see what we're talking about. So let me share my screen. Hopefully today my audio doesn't go out when I share my screen. We'll see. I don't want myself up here, so we're going to see. Everybody can still hear me, hopefully. So do y'all see this little item right here? Okay. So she's wanting to know how we could do this. And um, it is you're going to have to download a font or you're going to have to create your own little swirly thing down here on your own. You can do either way. But there are fonts out there, and I did find one that was similar that gave you this little swoosh. You could actually combine fonts and use the little swoosh, but we can do it in both P Design. If we do it in P Design, we have to go through Canvas Workspace first because P Design does not read the glyphs, which is what this little guy is. He's a personal use character, which is a glyph, and you have to have a font that has it in it. So let me close that out and we'll go show you what I found. So I found a font called Roots, and it will work. Let's start in Canvas Workspace. It will work both in Canvas Workspace and in P Design 11. So hi guys, thanks for rolling in here today and pop in questions if you have them. So I'm going to grab the text tool and I'm just going to type in and I believe this is kind of what she had. Okay. I'm not worried about it being exactly, just want you to kind of understand where we're going with this. And then I went down here and I installed the Roots font into my computer. I found it. You can get it for free for personal use. I actually ended up purchasing the license so I could do this today. Otherwise, that would be a no-go because this is your easiest route to go. Where is Roots? There's my Roots. Okay. So now it's changed to Roots. And here's where the tricky part comes in. You need to open your character map. And to find the character map on your computer, you go to the little search button down here and you type in CHAR and character map will pop up. Okay. And once it pops up, here it is. So to find the little swoosh to go down at the bottom, you have to do a special thing. And where it says group by and all, you want to change that to Unicode subrange. That gives you some other options. And we want to scroll down to where we see private use characters. And that's where the little swirls and stuff come for this particular font. So if I scroll down, and that's any one that says PUC characters or PEC, I believe it's PUC. Private use characters. So if you look right here, here is my swoosh. So here are the swooshes. There are a couple. So if I type that one in and I copy it, I can come in here and tap at the end and paste it. There is that swoosh. And that's really the one that she wanted. Okay. But if I didn't like that one, let's see what else we've got there. Here's the other one. Oops, let me delete both those back out. Let's double click on that one and copy it. And let's see what it does if I put it at the end. It's pretty much the same one. So I must have grabbed the same one twice. Who knows? But anyhow, that's how you get it in there. But it's not where you want it yet, right? Because it's too far spaced over. BES4 cannot read PE Design 11 files. You have to save them in a PE Design 10 format. So save both formats for yourself. Now, in order to get this over here to where I want, now she had the tech that was somewhat arced, if I recall correctly. So that gives me the opportunity to show you another little trick. I'm going to come over here to my Shapes menu and tap it. And I'm going to grab an oval because I don't want a big arc. I just kind of want a little bit of a arc, not a huge thing. All right. Once you've done that, you can then grab everything and go to your edit menu right here, that guy right there, the little 4 squares, and come down here to where it says this little guy right here with the text sitting on top of an arc. That's what we want. Right now it's upside down. That's okay. We can change that direction. Oh, let me see. Which one is it? We want to go center. No, we want to go right. There we go. Now we're closer. And we can tap off and tap just on the text and kind of move it around if we want to move it around a little bit more. We could also adjust our spacing, but that's actually pretty good, except for let's take our spacing down just a little bit and move it. Whoops, got a little excited there. Move it back along that path a little bit. There we go. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I can finesse it a little bit here in just a second. Well, let's click off of it and click back on it and come down here. Let's grab everything and have it convert it to shapes. Once it's converted to shapes, we can then divide it up. So this right here is a really key button in being able to manipulate this thing to where it's separated. So I'm going to say divide you up. And now you'll notice I have each individual letter to where I can pull this guy down. I can make him bigger by himself. We could rotate him a little bit if we want to kind of make it a little bit closer to the shape that we want. And there we go. I can come and grab that a little bit. So here we go. We're going to select it. Actually, we're just going to select the V and that little piece. And come down here and choose the weld button to make those one unit. So now, oops, I don't like where that one's placed, so let's undo it. Let's move it down a little bit further. Let's manipulate it a little bit here. Now let's try it. Oops, don't want them all, just want those 2. Weld them. Okay, so that's very close to what she wanted. So now we can export this as an FCM file. So I'm going to go File, Export, Transfer, FCM. And we're going to say Export FCM file. And we'll call this SAL and save it. Okay. So now if I come into PE Design 11, I can go to my Scan and Cut tab and choose Import. Choose where your file is located, and I'm going to go down and find my SAL file. There, whoops, there's stay. I went too far. There it is. And we'll import that file. Now, this is a pretty big guy, and it's going to end up being pretty big because it's going to be an applique. So I'm going to change my hoop size. I'm going to go with the 8x12, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. So we have space to work with. And we're going to ungroup everything for right now. And then I'm going to go to my Shapes tab, and I'm going to turn on the fill stitch for everything so that we can set some holes so that our applique works correctly. So we want to grab in the sewing order window, the A in the interior part of the A here. So you'll notice I've got red ants marching around here. Those both are grabbed. I need to click my Select Patterns icon and then go Modify Overlap, Set Hole Sewing. Oh, it doesn't like that pair. Would you all like to know why? When I was checking this out, I figured it out. So remember we talked about how you can't set a hole when lines are overlapping. Even though it fills in, if it overlaps, you've got a problem. So let's change this to a straight point. And let's move that over just a hair's breadth. I've got 2 points, it looks like. Nope. But I can also see right here, I've got a crisscross. So now let's try it. And if it's really crisscrossed, it wouldn't like it anyway when you went to make that applique. It would look very bizarre. So that's kind of close. We're good. And so I'm going to have the same issue when I go to do the next one. So we're going to grab those right there. I'm going to go to select patterns icon, modify overlap, set that whole sewing. It still says an invalid pair is selected. So where am I crisscrossed? All right, there is another cheater's way to do this. Change this from a running stitch to a zigzag stitch so we can see where our overlap might be. It's got to be down there at the bottom because we've pretty much got our top done. It's got to be down here. So let's go select point and come and check and see what we've got right here. That's fine. That should not be a problem. Oh, there it is. Y'all see that little, did y'all see that where that's crisscrossed there? That's the problem. That one right there was our issue. So, ooh, that's going to make that go funky. Let's grab that edit node and pull it that way. Okay, so now it should work. We're going to go select patterns, modify overlap, set whole sewing. There we go. So now if I turn off the fill stitch for that center of the A, you'll notice that there is no stitch there. It's a hole, and that's exactly what we need it to be. We're probably going to have the same issue with the D here, if I had to guess. Let's see what happens when we try to set a hole for the D. Let's go home, modify overlap, set whole sewing. Yep, invalid pair was detected. So let's come down here and look and see what we've got. Let's get real close. Oh, you can see that just right off the bat. See how those two are crisscrossed? We got to get that undone. That should take care of it. That looks like the only place it would have crisscrossed. Maybe in that corner. Let's double check the corner. Nope, that one's good. So come and grab your D's and select your pattern, modify overlap, and set whole sewing. So now you can turn off the fill stitch for the center of the D. Perfect. And we know that the A is going to have, the two A's are going to have an issue. So we can, there are a couple of things we could do. We could grab these A's and move them over there or just continue on. I'm going to continue on because I don't want to have to deal with matching them up perfectly. So let's just kind of come in here and make sure that that's not crisscrossed and this is not crisscrossed. Oop, pulled the wrong one over. No, that's actually the right one. Let's change the angle just a hair. There we go. All right, let's come down here and look and see what we've got. This one's definitely crisscrossed, so that should take care of that guy. All right, so let's come down, select those, select pattern, modify overlap, set whole sewing. And we'll change the fill for the center of the A and turn it off. Let's do the last letter. Excuse me. That last A, we know that it's a problem because every single other A has been a problem, so we may as well fix it before we ever start. Oh, went the wrong, no, it was the right one. It just looks a little weird. Sorry, guys. Ragweed in Tennessee, gotta love it. Let's smooth that. Ah, that's my problem. And now let's go down to the bottom corner and see. Oh, that one didn't do too bad this time. It didn't crisscross. Interesting. Okay, so now we're ready to set a hole here. Select pattern, modify overlap, set hole sewing, and turn off that center. Okay, even though this is an a satin stitch and the others aren't, not a big deal. We're going to go ahead and select everything and we're going to choose our applique wizard. We want to replace. So evidently there's something else that it doesn't like. So let's see. Let's come and grab this one and see if we do the applique wizard with it. Replace is there. You have to look and see which one it's not going to like. Replace is there. Replace is there. Aha, it's the end. So let's come and look at that corner of that end. Anytime that the replace is grayed out, it's the same issue. There is a line that's crossing over itself. So this really is actually a very good exercise for you all to understand why those buttons are not there for you. Why does that not highlight? So now let's try it. Select it all, applique wizard, replace is still not there. So let's, oh, no, my D should be fine. It's the end that we're looking at. Replace is still not there. So I still have an uh-oh somewhere on that end. Let's see what it might be. Select point. Now let's try it. Still not there. So, okay, we got to look for nodes that are sitting on top of each other. Let's go and change it to a satin stitch. That usually shows up more errors. I don't see anything sitting on top of itself. All right, let's try it one more time. It may just be a matter of holding my mouth just right. There it goes. All right, so something I changed worked, so let's try it again. Grab it all, applique wizard. There we go. We want to replace it. Oh, I'm a metric kind of girl. So let me go to metric. I know these settings in metric. I do not know them in inches. I would love to tell you I do, but I do not. So we are going to make our width. I'm going to go with 3. And my density, that's fine. We'll go ahead and leave a zigzag stitch as our tack down stitch. Click OK, and there's your first applique. Ooh, I do not like the way it did that A. Do you all? Do you see that little issue there? So I'm going to click undo. And let's go look and see what's going on at the side of that A. Oh, that point right there. So let's delete that guy right there. Let's do it on all of them. Okay. Now let's see if we like it. So just because my button works doesn't mean everything's good to go. We want to check and see if there's any issues that we don't like. I'm not crazy about the D and I'm not crazy about the V. So let me undo one more time. Let's come and zoom in right here and see what we've got going on. Select point. And I'm going to make this a curve. And I'm going to make it to cusp. We're going to make it a little bit less severe of an angle so it doesn't go a total point. All right, let's see if we like that one. What was the other one I didn't like? I didn't like the D. And it's this little point right here. I'm going to make that a straight, and then I'm going to make it a curve. And we're going to widen it out a little bit. Oop. To symmetry. Let me zoom in. So now we can make it just a little bit rounder so it doesn't make a big old point right where that was coming in. Let's do the same thing right here. Let's go to straight and then to curve and then kind of pull this in. And let's add a point right there to round it back up. All right, let's see what we've got. That should be close to what we want. So what started out as what we would think would be a really simple exercise because it's just converting a TrueType font. Now, once again, I should have fixed my A the same as I did my D because my D is much better now. The A needed to be worked on, but you guys get the concept. Now, this right here is definitely an issue, so let's undo one more time. Darn it. Which one was it? Where did it go? Let me see what we got. That thing right there. Okay. So let's go see what we've got going on there. Sometimes you just get too many points and it doesn't know what to do. So it goes funky and it decides I'm going to do something really weird. So let's smooth that out. And let's make that one smooth as well and see. Let's smooth that one. Symmetry. Now let's try it. Control A. Let's see if we like it. Much better. So you get the concept? Now, to do the next part, you would go Applique Wizard. This time we would want to add, because if we looked back at her original file, let me go and come find that. Hold on a sec. I shut it down. So let me come here and see what we've got. Inbox. Miss Beverly. So she basically has, if you look at this, she has two shadows. So there's the first one, and honestly, we cannot make chenille, but an idea that you might do is, you know, those shop towels? You could do that. So we're going to add this time, and you want to choose the distance from your original pattern. So the first time, I'd want it kind of snug. Let's try 5 millimeters and see what we get. See if we like it. Yeah, that's pretty good. And there's one. Let's look at that. Let's look back and see what we've got here. Okay, so I might choose a light zigzag instead. So I could come in here to my sewing attributes. Let's come and grab that covering stitch, which is here. There's two pieces of the covering stitch. There's the tack down and the actual covering. And change your density down. Let's go to about 2. And I would get rid of this guy right here. But to get rid of him, I need to ungroup that section. Ungroup. Now, select him, press delete on the keyboard. Now you have a really nice light zigzag. Then if you want to extend that one more time, select it, go to the Home tab, choose your Applique Wizard, choose how far away you want it. If you want it a little bit further this time, you can increase that number. Click OK. There you go. Once again, I'm going to turn off the tack down. So I'm going to basically ungroup this section. Select this piece, move my cursor into the window, and press delete. Double clicking will select. So if you notice me not going here and going back up here, that's because I double clicked instead. And what did I change my density to? 2. So there you go. And that's how you would actually do that kind of a project. That gives you all of the steps. It's a little bit labor intensive, but that's the way it works. Okay. All right, Sandra, I'm not sure. The overlap for hole sewing is something that's confusing you all of the time. The overlap. Oh, okay. So modify overlap. There are two different options. You can remove overlap or you can set hole sewing. The difference is remove overlaps works all the time, but they are individual pieces at that point. Set hole sewing, on the other hand, makes it one unit. So when you set the hole, the item has to be completely encased within the first item. So it's got to be stacked on top of each other. There cannot be any edge extending anywhere else. It has to be sitting directly on top of it, somewhere on top of it. Remove overlaps, on the other hand, I can have it offset just touching and it will remove the overlap underneath it and you can move things away. For what I wanted it to do, the reason I did this set hole sewing instead of remove overlaps is so that that's one letter. And if we look at the text that we convert, the item that we converted to applique, let's come in and zoom in on our A so you can see through it. Let me turn it back to stitch mode. Do you see how the placement stitch here is towards the outer edge? If you look here, it's towards the inner. So it flips it the correct direction as opposed to going really bizarre. That's the reason I do that. If we had gotten it to activate this, create an applique with hole sewing, that would have been pretty cool as well. But it did not, did not pop up for me. That for sure makes it do. So let me get rid of all this and let me kind of explain hole sewing again. So let's say we just have a circle and it's filled. It has to be a fill before either one of these works. So it doesn't matter. It has to be a fill. And let's put a club on top of it. All right, so you notice that these two are overlapping. Let me change the color of the top one. These two are overlapping, but this one is not in the middle of this. And let me make it to where it would work. So, all right. If it's encased totally within the inside of it, like this, set hole sewing will work. So if I go modify overlap, set hole sewing, let's go ahead and duplicate this first. Copy, paste. There we go. All right. So if I come right here and I do modify overlap, set hole sewing, you'll notice how the background is removed from it. But if I try to move the center, the whole thing moves. It becomes one item. So when you turn off the fill stitch for that center region, it's gone. It just takes it away, but it makes this centerpiece part of that exterior. It makes it one unit. On the other hand, if I try to set hole sewing like this, it will not let me do it. It will give me invalid pairs. So that's the other reason you get an invalid pair is when you don't have one in the middle. However, if I choose remove overlap, it will remove the overlap from the fill, not from the outline. So you'll notice here, there's not two outlines. Here, there are in the spaces where they would overlap. So on the bottom one, this is a little tricky because you don't want the bump. That's a speed bump that you just don't want. So what you can do is after you've got it removed, you can copy it and you can paste it. All right. Once you've done that, you can click on the outline. So let's ungroup this guy so that we can play with him. This little tidbit we don't need, right? It's just an extra piece. So let's select it and delete it. And now let's come to that second outline and go to our select point tool. Right mouse click right here until it's split at point. Right mouse click over here and say split at point. Now you'll notice I have the overlap is gone. So if I select that now and delete it, when we look, if I take that clover out of, or the club out of the way, that one's gone. I still have this. So, but I can see that there's a plus sign there. So I should be able to click this and delete it. There we go. And then you can take this and put it back. Oh, what happened? Oh, no, I know what I meant to do. So here, I want to turn off the outline. Duh. Now you can see you just have the one outline. That's why we copied and pasted. If I tried to split it point with the fill goes away, okay? When you split at point, it opens up the outline, so the fill goes away. Hence, I needed to copy and paste. So by copying and pasting, I made a duplicate. I could turn off the outline of the first one because I didn't open it up. That leaves my fill stitch. My copied one, I just split it at point on both sides where it connects and delete it. So once it's done. I don't know what you're asking me. It does not, if your design fits in a 4x4 hoop and you want to use it on a 4x4 machine, make sure you choose the 4x4 hoop. Otherwise, your design will not be read on that on a 4x4 machine. That is a big deal. So if you've saved a design in, let's say, an 8x8 hoop, and your machine does not recognize an 8x8 hoop, that design won't show up, or it will be grayed out because it won't recognize it. Okay. But yes, you can save it in a 5x7 and use it in a 4x4 if you want to. I mean, that's not a problem. Okay. All right. Let me see what else we've got. So for me, Bonnie, we're getting back to summer come Saturday, but not here today. It was 30 degrees this morning. It was a cold walk. We had a wind chill. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So Vicki, okay, a motif on the sewing side is different. And if you don't have P Design 11, you cannot do it. It is a sewing stitch. Do you have P Design 11? If you do, then I'll go through the exercise once I get done with the Saldana thing. So I'm going to show the same exercise that we just did in BES4. It should not take us as long if you have a power pack, okay? No, Sandy, there's not for the 8x14-inch hoop in the Durkee. The jumbo frame, there's only the jumbo frame if you have Power Pack 1, and that is not the 8x14. That is a 14x14 for the 10 needle. We do not have one in there for specialty frames. Okay, so in BES4, this works much better if you have Power Pack 2. I'm going to choose import artwork. Actually, if you don't, let me do it without a power pack first. So let's assume this is what we like. We're happy with it. We're good to go. How would I create an offset here instead of trying to do it in the software? Here's how you would do that. Down here, there's an offset button. Hold on. Let me change to metric. Artboard, inches, metric. Okay. Let's go back down here on our edit tab, offset, and what did I have that spacing at? 5? Oh, intersecting paths, so it's not going to let me do that. Hold on, let's see here. Let's go into our layers. Oh, it's going to give me the same error message that I was getting before because those things are touching and crossing over. So that same issue exists here. I hide my controller points. When you get a crisscross, it is the death of trying to get some stuff done. I'm going to subtract that one out so I don't have to deal with it. And we'll put that like that. Same with this. I've got a crisscross path. Doesn't look like I have one anywhere else there. Ooh, means I have more than one on that other piece. Stop snapping, you little turkey. Down here is a crisscross too, right? Sometimes I'll move it totally out of the way for you to figure out where exactly the crisscross lands. Okay, so that one does not have one down there. That's odd, but it has one right there. Now, oh, yep, that should be all. Ooh, no, we had one on the Y, didn't we? Or the V here. Didn't like the spot. So let's say we want to have an angle here. I'm going to say I want a handle. Ooh, right there. All right, let's see what happens. Like me. All right. Offset, will you like me, please? Self-intersecting paths. Okay, guys, didn't like it there. So let's just go ahead and export that FCM file. I'm done trying to play with this today. SAL. We'll save it. Yes. We're going to go into BES4. File, import artwork. And this is SAL, right? Does help if you know your alphabet. There it is. Okay. If you have a Power Pack, if you have Power Pack 2, you can go offset, create offset, choose how far away you want it, and it should create an offset for us, unless I'm going to crash it today. So yes, Kelly, what I showed with the remove overlaps would create an embossed design. It would create an area that would fluff up. What I would do is I would put a motif on it. I've crashed and burned the program today. So something is going on with that text. There's something crisscrossing that I didn't catch. It's not going to like it. And I can tell that. So let me show you another way we could do this instead of bringing that in, because I'm tired of that piece. This is bring it over, pop it over. So Roots is a true type font. All right, so let's go back to our character map and let's copy that glyph and pop it in here. All right, it is way far away and there's really no way to get that in there. So what we need to do, and this is only going to work, I'm in artwork mode, this is only going to work if you have Power Pack 2. We are going to right mouse click on this and say break up text. And then to bring this, oops, actually I wanted to do something else first. So undo, undo. We want to make this on an arc. Text tool, arc text, circle. And actually, no, I don't want it on a circle. I want it on a path. And I'm just going to arc my path myself. So we're going to say edit baseline and right mouse click here and add a point, and we'll arc that text ourselves. Right mouse click away from it. And why is that giving me a question mark there? There we go. We're not going to worry about that little thing. There we go. Perfect. Now see, it let me do it that time. Sweet. Okay. So if we look at this closely, however, do you see how that's overlapping there? And it's got that little little kind of crazy little guy. Let's go back to our text tool and take this and move it down a little bit. But we do want to break up our text. So we're going to go to the select tool, right mouse click, break up our text. And then we are going to grab this and this. Actually, all we need is the V and this guy right here. Go to our Arrange tab and say Transform Artwork Weld. So that is now one item. If I try to move one, the other one's going to move with it. Perfect. All right, let's subtract out so that we can see what we're doing. We may need to make this bigger. I have no idea how big it is. Oh, yes, we definitely needed it bigger. All right, which means if we wanted to make this bigger, we could have done that before we welded it. Just keep that in mind. I would size my text first. I did not do so. Let's grab it all. Go to our Tools tab, convert to Applique. Ooh, yeah, it definitely needed to be bigger. Oh, but my width is 3.5. So let's change our width to 3. That's a better option. And let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So now to get those echoes, that's on your Arrange tab, Offset, Create Offset. Choose how far away you want it. I'm going to go 0.25. Please play nice with me, children. Cindy, you just have to ask questions. I'm not going to, there's whatever you want to do. If this is the time to ask, I will be happy to answer them live. So I do videos on everything. It's just whatever questions there come in. Yeah, it's not going to like me. I cry uncle today, guys. My BES is not liking me at all. Let's give it a while to play. And what was the question over here? So Stitch Design Factory. While we're waiting on that to do its thing, we'll see. Stitch Design Factory. Option. Stitch Design Factory. This thing is a very slow program, just so you understand that. It is not real quick to go when it comes to this. If you do not want it to snap to grid, you need to turn off snap to grid. You can choose your grid interval. This right here is a 7mm distance, okay? Because 7mm is the general stitch for most machines. There is a way to get that larger if you have a luminaire, but for most machines, this is what you get. And this is your line to begin your stitch, and you simply click where you want it to go. So if you want to open a template to draw something, let's see, what do I have? Let's say I wanted to do a pumpkin. I can move my pumpkin down. I can make him smaller. And I need to determine where I want him to start. And then you go and grab your drawing tool and you left click around it, just like you would a motif. And I'm just left mouse clicking around this little guy. If I had a ghost, I would have done a ghost for you, but I've got a pumpkin today. Now, it's got to get back down to the bottom somehow so that it can join the next stitch. So let's look at this. Do I have a preview window? I do not. So you either have to go straight down to connect to the next one, or go around it. So I'm going to double click to finish mine off, and that is my stitch. So let's see here. If we look, let me zoom out. So there's my stitch. Let me turn off my template so you can see what we've, oh, preview window. That's what I wanted to do. So this is my stitch as it stands right now. If I don't want that line going down to through the middle, then I need to come in and go around one of the sides. That is just like in Programmable Stitch Creator when you're creating a motif. If you don't want it to go down the middle, one side's going to be heavier than the other. So you just simply come in and click and drag. This has gotten faster. It used to be very slow when I was zoomed in. So here is my little pumpkin. I'm going to get back to the middle. Now, what I have to do when I'm done is I have to export it. Okay, so here's my pumpkin. If I come to the file pull down menu, I would choose export, and I want to say export to a file. Or if you have a Luminaire, you can export it to a network sewing machine. I'm going to export mine to a file, and I would take it to a USB, and then you can bring it off your machine, off the USB to your machine. So that is how you create one on the sewing side. There are some other things that you can do. So I can make it a single stitch, a triple stitch. The Luminaire, you can make it 3.94 inches. It's a little bit weird. So you can switch it start and stop. So you can switch the direction it sews. You can flip it. You can flip it horizontally. You can flip it vertically. You can duplicate it if you want to make two and add something else in. So you have the option to do that. And that is pretty much up to you as to what your pleasure is. But you have to set up in your options, you have to set up what your machine is. So select the export format. So PMV is for the Luminaire. PMP is for everybody else. So if you want to make one that's bigger than a 7mm stitch, you have to come in and choose PMB as your default. Maybe I got that backwards. Yep. Default is PMB. Check machine will come up if you have the Luminaire. So the Luminaire allows you to go wider. So you can see that it was showing me that extra. Now I'd have to go find my Luminaire. Oh, hold on. Let me get my machine number. Hang tight. I hate it when I do that. Settings. 7. All right, 47719. Let me just take a picture of it. Hold on, guys. All right, so it says I can use, okay, yes, say that. So now when I say okay, you'll notice I have a bigger area to work with. So if we zoom out, I can go the full width of this guy. That is my 3.94 inches. So if I come and select him, let me hold my shift key down. Oh, what happened? There's my big old pumpkin. It just has disappeared, but he's there. Okay, so he is now 3.94 inches, basically. I don't know where he went to on my screen, but he's there. Not real sure. So, I mean, couldn't tell you where he went to. You can also change your direction. But that is very interesting that he has disappeared. Huh. Don't know what to tell you. That's a goblin that I'll have to take out, that I'll have to check out. Okay. Let me think. Split designs for the multi-hoop. Okay. Yes, Sandy, I can. If you've got P Design 11, I'm going to tell you, or P Design anything from 9 up, it will do a better job. Okay. It just does. This does a decent job, but depending on the design, depends on how bizarre it gets. So it's not hard. If I go into my BES software, oh, let me just, I've locked that up tighter than a tick today. Oops. Task Manager. Hello. All right. Let me see. What have I got? Hoop. First thing you want to do, select the hoop, choose multi-needle, and choose the frame. Let me see. What have I got? Oh, I was just going to make text. And I want to go just back to regular text. And I'm going to make it bigger than it's supposed to be. So y'all can see what happens. All right, so it told me I've created a satin stitch wider than the largest stitch the machine can make. That's what this is. What can I do when I do that? Well, I'm too big for my hoop now, so let me get back down a little bit. And then let's change our stitch type. So when you get that little error message, there is a way around it. Let's see, let's turn off the hoop and turn it back on to center it. Yeah, let's make it just a little bit smaller. I like to give them a little bit of room for error. And here's the cheater's trick to center it. Just turn off your hoop and turn it back on. It's now in the center. We're going to change our satin stitch to a pattern fill, because if you do not, look what happens. That's what you have to embroider. So if you look at it in 3D mode, it's going to tell you this is what it's going to do. So you do not want that to happen. Pick a pattern and click apply. Once you click that pattern fill, it will apply and it'll be ready to go. So to send this to your network machine, or not even to your network machine, to send it to the machine, you can do send to machine. Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, my 10 needle's not attached, so it's not on. But when you have it, you choose your machine, and you want to go down here where it says Brother Baby Lock Auto Split PES 9. That is what it takes to be. Yeah, it can't connect to my machine card, and I understand, but that's what that's what you need to do. That's how it tells it to do that. The same thing when you go to save this. If I go to, come on, mouse, File, Save As. When I go to the format down here, I want to choose Brother Baby Lock Auto Split PES file. And then name it. And then you can go pick it up. Okay. Any other questions, Sandy, on that one? That's how that works. All right, guys. It looks like we are about out of time today. Cindy West, if you have questions on Simply Applique, let me know. That's what this is for. Next week, I may be early because I have to go to my brother, so I may work early next week. We'll see. Can't tell you honestly off the top of my head whether we're or not. I have a meeting that day as well, so I'm not for sure. So you guys have a great rest of your week. Be sure and give me a like and a thumbs up and a follow and do whatever other things that we need to do. Let's see here. I will give you a coupon code today. Version 10, those are back in. They work. The book works for both 10 and 11. That's the coupon code for that one. DIG10, and it will not be active until I get off of here. LET4 would be for your Lettering So Easy. And guys, I am going to try to do a live in that Lettering So Easy group this week. That is a members only site, which you have to have that book in order to be part of. So I'm going to try to do that this week. So Diane, no, you have to have software in order to split it, in order for the jumbo hoop design to be split. Okay. You'll either have to have P Design. I believe it started at 9. I believe 9, 10, and 11 have the split for the jumbo frame, or BES4 with Power Pack 1. Okay. Any of those should split it. But you do have to have Power Pack 1 to split for the jumbo frame. Okay. And it is for BES, that is the only frame that it splits for, none of the others. All right. Yes, Kelly, the BES one shows you how to do pretty much everything in the program. It does not cover Power Packs 2 and 3 simply because they were not out at the time that it was written. I have done so many videos on Power Pack 2 and enough on Power Pack 3 that you should be able to get by without needing those, and especially if you haven't added them yet. It even covers, there's a bonus lesson on the BES Cloud if you plan on using it. In addition, for that particular workbook, I do have a Facebook group that we are about 3/4 of the way through that workbook, going through it step by step. Yeah, we're about 3/4. We're here out of this much space. We're here. This is the second half of the book, so we're getting there. Okay. Oh, Diane, congratulations. You'll love the PR1055X. It's quite a lot of fun. All right, guys, if there is nothing else today, I'm going to say goodbye for the day. Yeah, it's all in one place. And and obviously you can ask questions here. I always answer them here. So just keep that in mind. But I do think I'm going to try to do a live with you guys on Thursday. I will not promise that, but I'm going to try. Okay. As y'all know, things have gone crazy in my world. So, but I'm going to try to do that on Thursday because I have been absent from there for a while and you guys are not very active in that group. So y'all have a great rest of your day. And Miss Princess has come in to say, hey, it's time for a WALK. She knows, she can tell time. I swear to goodness, she can tell time. She's sitting here staring at me like, okay, it's time to go. Please let me go outside. Yes. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.